Oh, look at this little dude here. Can you see that? Look at that.
Yeah.
I believe we've determined that's a 1957 model.
Does Don Curtis know you? Does Don Curtis know you pillaged his station?
My mother was very surprised to find out there were FM dial positions that you could turn in FM stations on this thing. That's funny. I think that used to reside at.
By the way, if you tune in to FM on that radio, everything is still commercial free.
And it's beautiful music. Is it still?
Yeah. It's Mantovani.
There's a if you're an Audible subscriber, there's a podcast they have about the last days of Casey Kasem and what his wife did when she scurried the body out of the country and all that shit. It's that woman was out of her. The level of psychosis that Gene Kasem had is beyond anything.
Well, this wasn't that long ago. It was just like 3 years ago.
2014. I think it's 2014 or something like that. I think it was in that area.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Time is passing quickly for me.
Well, particularly the last year and a half has gone by in about a week. And then again, while you were in it, it took 50 years. It was weird. All right, I'm all shared up.
We're ready.
Ready.
We are ready. Hey, welcome to the Brad and Britt cast. It's our first one for this week. We'll do one more late in the week, probably on Friday, if you're with us live here in the famous 1:30 Eastern hour.
And filling in for us will be.
You're looking good. You're looking good.
I'm trim. I've got everything going on. And filling in for us this summer, of course, the Summer Brothers Smothers show. So don't forget to check that out. That's going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
You think I don't know some shit? You think I don't know some baby boomer culture? I know all about it, pal.
Yeah, well, that's because we couldn't get the Starland vocal band to get back together.
Oh snap! I've been one upped again. Yeah. Curses.
You know what? I took the ball and I threw a length of the court pass and dunked on you. But it's okay. It's all right. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. All right. Hey, listen. I normally don't do this. And I know you don't like it because it's a curveball, but we're gonna call for a guest right now. You don't even know about it. Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond has a couple of subjects that I hear he wanted to weigh in on. I got word of it. I got in touch with him. Ladies and gentlemen, the late, great, but never not really with us, Senator from South Carolina, now in his 117th year, J. Strom Thurmond. Welcome to the Brad and Britt cast.
Is machine on? Is a machine on? It's honor to be with you. You are Brad and Britt. You are credit to community. Delightful to be with you.
Right. You look good. You sound good. And I assume you're all vaccinated up. You'd be one of the few people in South Carolina who is vaccinated. Apparently there's a north-south split on vaccinations now, like everything else. Did you get one?
Well, I'm glad you announced that. Fritz Allings and I are having a press conference along with Carol Campbell today in Columbia, South Carolina. We are going to announce a lottery for those people who refuse to get vaccinated in the state of South Carolina. We got that Elon Musk fella to put up $1 million. If you refuse to get vaccinated, you could be into a lottery in South Carolina. You could win $1 million and a free trip to south of the border. All of the fireworks you can carry.
You know, we don't have that many guests on who have been through both pandemics 100 years apart, but you were around for the first one in 1918, or as Donald Trump says, the 1917 Spanish flu. What was that like? And did you get vaccinated then? Were there vaccinations? I don't even know.
What happened was I took a break from my usual menu items. I had sex with a Spanish woman and it hurt when I would pee. I called it the Spanish flu. So that was very painful time for Storm J. Thurman. I just stuck with the Nubian princesses after that. That's what happened early part of 1900s.
Good enough. Now, I don't know whether you were awake last week, but it happened very quickly. The anniversary of the people in Texas who were still enslaved after the Civil War, took them 2.5 years for the troops to get in there and inform them that they were free as the Civil War came to an end. And we now have a new national holiday. It's called Juneteenth. Are you aware of this, that this is an important day now on our calendar? It'll be a national holiday, just like Veterans Day or Thanksgiving, and everything's going to be closed down. What are your impressions of that particular holiday now, since you were so involved in the civil rights struggle, mostly on the wrong side of it, but you were involved in it?
I made it possible. I made the civil rights struggle possible. Nobody give me credit whatsoever for that.
Right. That's true.
Nobody give me so. Yeah, we tried to keep the word getting out to those people in Galveston, Texas, for finding out, but eventually some old Yankee blabbed and said, "Y'all free." I nearly beat his ass, but I said, "Don't let them know that. Tote that bell, hoist that seed,
right.
Pick a little cotton, and you land in jail." But they found out eventually, and of course we have it's a situation. Storm J. Thurman is very torn by this because don't need another national holiday. Too many people gold bricking out there. Thanks to my contemporary, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. He is the 79th president that I have known in my lifetime. We need people who won't go out and work, but it is a holiday where there's a lot of hot black women out partying, wearing very little clothing, and dancing. So I'm very torn by this particular holiday. I like it. At the same time, I do not like it. Storm J. Thurman is torn. I believe the word is ambivalent. Right.
Now, in South Carolina last week, as President Biden was signing the legislation to make Juneteenth a holiday, the federal offices closed, but the state offices in South Carolina stayed open. And Juneteenth is not, nor is it an official holiday going forward in South Carolina. They're kind of being resistant here. And the word is that there's going to be a bill introduced so that Juneteenth will be a holiday in South Carolina, but we have other people who want to give people the choice of taking Juneteenth off or Confederate Memorial Day off, whatever day of the year that is.
That's right.
What is your, what?
Would you like to know what the statewide holidays are in South Carolina? First of all, my birthday and the birthday of the guy that invented boiled peanuts. Those are already statewide holidays across the state of South Carolina. We do not need this whole thing encroaching federal government. When President Lincoln puts the tyranny of federal government on top of the state of South Carolina, it makes me head to Fort Sumter and put a cannonball in. We do not need this whole thing. I believe it is my body, my choice. I should be given a choice of celebrating Robert E. Lee or Juneteenth. Those are the two celebrations, and you should be chosen in the great state of South Carolina. That's what we believe. That's what we always believe.
I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled.
And also, again, one of the reasons I'm torn about Juneteenth is it gives us a chance to sell a hell of a lot more firecrackers. Firecrackers are the #1 export of the great state of South Carolina. I don't know if you're aware of this. #1 export.
I'm not aware of that. Hey, you've been to Stone Mountain National Park, haven't you? There in Georgia.
I worked on it. I helped make that huge monument.
Right. Well, they carved. I didn't even realize this. I hadn't thought about that. They carved into the side of the mountain, and it's kind of creepy looking, in my opinion. A bunch of Confederate soldiers on horses marching by, right? And of course, there's a movement to take that down. I don't know how you
Yes.
take it down. You'd have to just blast it off, or get a lot of, I don't know. I guess from your point of view, you'd need a bunch of slaves to use sandpaper and get it all off.
What's wrong with this? What's
Yeah,
wrong with that? We again,
right.
they got some people on the side of the mountain. I can't remember which one of the losing generals up there. Stonewall, it's Jeb, and one of the ones that lost, and they're on the side. They're bigger than life, and it's a warning that we shall always be proud of our losers, always and forever in our hearts. They will always be our losers, and the cause of not slavery shall exist forever and ever. That is the message to the world. Great people of Georgia. Just because it happens to be real close to a whole bunch of black people and might intimidate them, that's just a coincidence. That's just one of those things that happen.
Right. It's two generals and a president. It's Stonewall Jackson, Robert E. Lee, and Jefferson Davis. And by the way, none of those guys were from Georgia. No battles were fought there. It was just thrown up in. Do you know what year that was put up in, Strom? Because I think you're going to really be excited when you hear that it went up in 1972, which would be the year that George Wallace was running for president and got shot in the process. This has nothing to do with that. It's just one of those wonderful historical coincidences.
It was such a great time for America. Richard Nixon was reelected with the Southern strategy, saying we're going to let the racism and the segregation of the South live forever. We love Richard Nixon so much in the South. In 1972, that was when America was truly great. That is a good time for America.
All right, so Strom, now that you're vaccinated and at least part of America is getting back to normal, the other part is passing around a more virulent virus, which we can talk about after you're not with us anymore.
It's called the Delta variant. It's called the Delta. Who lives in the Delta? That's all I'll say. That's all I'm going to say.
Now, are you going to get out and go to concerts and move around and do all those kind of things you haven't been able to do for the past year? And what might those things be? Where would we look for a Strom Thurmond to be mingling with the people now that he's able to safely?
Are they still doing Freaknik in Atlanta? That would be.
I don't think so.
That would be NBA All-Star Weekend. Did I miss that? Because that would be another thing Strom Thurmond won't go to.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're going to lose out on the All-Star game too. Remember that got yanked a few months ago. Remember that?
What about the Super Jam concert over at the Greensboro Coliseum? They still doing that? That's another place. G-Ho.
Yeah. You're waiting You're waiting for a monster truck rally somewhere, right?
Well, and of course, Leonard Skinner touring again. I won't be a part of all that. So many things Strom J. Thorne wants to be a part of, but especially North Carolina A&T homecoming weekend. G-Ho is what we call it, the greatest homecoming on earth. Strom Thurmond's going to come through, as the children say, and it's going to be a good time for all of us.
You know, when you think about it, you are a one-man diversity machine.
That is correct.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
Don't think too hard, but think about it.
You want to talk about all the voting rights bullshit that's going on? How they're trying to do?
No, I think we'll let Brad and Britt talk about it.
They do. I love Brad and Britt.
We know how you feel. We know how you feel about voting rights.
You damn right. You 100% right about that. You absolutely 100% right about that.
You let them vote. Next thing you know, they're marrying your daughter, right?
Well, sometimes you ain't got to marry somebody in order to make a baby, if you know what I mean. That seems to be the headline.
Right. There seems to be a lot of hypocrisy involved in that situation, isn't there?
Well, maybe it's hypocrisy. Maybe it's just I'm racist, but my penis isn't. Maybe that's all it is.
That's it.
Maybe it isn't.
All right. See you later, Strom. Thanks.
Once again, Brad, you are credit to the community.
Thank you.
Wow. I had no idea that old guy was going to be on there.
I need a dab. I need a dab right now.
Going to G-Ho, is he? Is that where he's?
Yeah. Holy shit! All right. I tell you so what. I heard about 20 minutes ago before we started, Dr. Gupta say that it's now not the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. It's basically the vaccinated and the infected. Okay. Just a question of time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I posted something earlier. I went on a full rant because I've had it. I've basically had it.
What
Because
was
when
it that set
think
you
about-
off? What was it that set you
Well,
off?
it's just this whole idea that we went from maybe January, February. It's going to skip the United States. Then Trump knew and lied about the fact it was going to be really serious, and don't worry about it. And then by March, it was kind of obvious this is going to be a horrible, horrible thing. So he kept lying. And then he said, oh, everything's going to be fine by Easter. We're going to have Easter services at church. Of course, he didn't realize he meant Easter 2021.
Right.
But okay, he thought it was Easter 2020. So he kept lying, and
It's going
there
to
was
disappear.
no vaccine at that point. And we had to mask up, and they resisted the masks, and they turned it into a culture issue. But we got through that. We got through the summer. Thousands of people were dying per day. And then voila, like a miracle, truly, we had a vaccine. So we began the first few months with scrapping and clamoring to get the vaccine because everybody knew that if we could just get a vaccine, we could get the population vaccinated, and several months later, things would start to get back to normal, and it would be great. But there was no vaccine, but then there was a vaccine. So we all got on our computers and our phones, those of us who are really technologically savvy, and we got it. We got it in January, February, March, April, and blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly, the shortage of vaccines became a surplus, and there was plenty of vaccines. But we had all these people who came up with every crazy, stupid ass reason not to get vaccinated. And yes, I know we had to understand them, and we had to understand
Hold their
why
hands.
they were hesitant, blah, 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 blah.
Educate
And
them.
then underneath, guess what? Another really nasty variant of the virus bubbled up around the world, and it was going to come to the United States, and it did. But again, the vaccine protective against all these kinds of coronavirus. Isn't that great? So now here we are headed into the summer. We're here. Summer has arrived. What is it? June 22nd, 23rd. We're there. We're summertime. And we have a large percentage of the population vaccinated. But Joe Biden said it would be 70%. He lied. That's right. He lied. Fuck all of you. And now, if you are a person who has had a choice whether to get vaccinated or not, and you are still not vaccinated, and you are now circulating among yourselves and passing it to each other, and we still have a couple hundred people a day dying in this country, which is back to the level that it was in early March of 2020. That's how far back we had to go before we had a day where it was under 300. But we are now back there. But that's still a couple hundred people a day. Couple hundred people a day dying from it. So if you have not been vaccinated at this point, we have begged you. We have educated you. We have bribed you. We have done everything we can, and you still won't do it. So guess what? Fuck you all who are not getting vaccinated. There is no excuse, none.
By the way, we've handed out $1 million prizes. We've handed out $1 million prizes to try to get.
Why I said the word bribe. We bribed you. That included that. Britt.
We continue to bribe. No, but I assume, and I know I obsess about this quite a bit, that this is going to be. Oh, it's a failure. It's a failure by Joe Biden. He said he was going to get.
Obviously, it's not a failure.
By the 4th of July. Okay, it's a failure. I'll go with you on a failure. Why did it fail? Did it fail because we weren't able to manufacture enough doses? We weren't able to coordinate it. We weren't able to, for the states to be able to get it in people's arms, and the efforts by the federal government and also the VA and the American Indians. We just couldn't do it, but we tried. No, we failed because people were stupid and they wouldn't take the free, safe vaccination, which they can now walk in to about a dozen places, even in the most rural places in America. You can just walk right in and get it. It's not that we didn't reach the level that Joe Biden thought about or challenged us to get to by July the 4th because of any kind of a failure by distribution or by manufacturing. It's just sheer stupidity and lack of will. That's how we didn't meet the goal. It's not for a lack of wanting or a lack of effort or a lack of coordination or a lack of management. There's no incompetence. It's nothing to do with that. It's just because people are too stupid to go out and get the free, safe vaccine to put in their arm. That's it.
I disagree with the concept that we didn't meet the goal, because the country as a whole, yes, if you average all 50 states, did not meet the goal. We're like I don't know, 60, it might be 60%, 67% or so by July 4th at the rate. So it's not 70%. And by the way, that's kind of a statistical wobble in my world. But
I agree.
We'll pretend for a second that because we didn't reach the magic number of 70. And by the way, the virus knows this. The virus knows that if the United States gets to 70, it gives up and just goes away.
But if it doesn't,
67% of the whole population,
it still rocks.
Because apparently the Confederacy, the Republicans, the right wingers, the assholes who think that states' rights are everything don't get the fact that states have had the right to have dumb citizens. Most of them are, in fact, all of them are Trump voting states in the last election, filled with more people who are, as I call them, vaccine refuseniks. They are vaccine refuseniks. And therefore, if you're in a state that is 65, 70, 80% vaccinated, and there are a bunch of them right now that are that high, they're ruining the average. They're dragging it up. How dare they? Yeah. How dare they? What do they know that nobody else does? So obviously this is a complete miracle. No one would have guessed a year ago we'd be where we are right now, that we'd be going back to baseball games and concerts and not having to worry about wearing a goddamn mask anymore. And it is a miracle, but there's just one little thing. You have to participate.
You have to get there.
You have to be part. Yes. And if you don't, then if you get sick or you pass it to someone, you have no excuse. And if you get sick and you end up in a hospital and you're on a ventilator again, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about you.
That's
my line.
I know we get into a lot of analogies, but it's almost like, there's a hunger problem in America. Why is there a hunger problem? Well, the food is available. People could easily go get it for free, but they're too stupid, or they've been told by Fox News that eating carrots is socialist. So they didn't go out there and they just went hungry.
Starved. They starved in the street. Well,
it's not because they can't afford the food. The food's available for free to them. And all they have to do is go get the food and eat it. But they've decided that, no, that's some sort of socialist plot, or it's a horrible thing, or no, they should go ahead and just suck on enough water and that'll fill them up. And it's just the most bizarre thing. It's the most bizarre thing that it was all, you've seen the COVID story and the vaccine story, in one sense, is all about the greatness of America and the massive failure that is America, all in one ball, right? It's almost like it's the greatest thing.
Yeah,
I mean, you had these immigrants from Turkey who went to Germany, and they were the ones who came up with this BioNTech place, and then they helped create this vaccine. It was rolled out. It was tested very quickly, got tremendous results.
Yeah. We all know the story.
We made it available to everybody.
We are past that, Britt. We are past the explaining why you suck if you are voluntarily not getting vaccinated. There's nothing left to say. There's no information that I need before I'm going to go get the vaccine. I want to see if it really works. Well, guess what? It works. That story in Florida from the last day or so, where it's like a government office, and there were 6 or 7 people, and they all got it, and they all passed it around to each other, except for one person who didn't get it. Guess what? That person was vaccinated. Amazing. But, I mean, that's not amazing at all. That's what happens. If you're vaccinated, you're not going to get it. Yes. Can you point to a case? Yes, Bill Maher got it. Okay. And he got the mildest case in the history of the world, because that's what happens when you get vaccinated. It doesn't matter. Did New York Yankees drop dead from contracting the virus? Is
I wish they did, but no, they're still alive.
That's a different reason. That is a different reason. Sports hostility is always welcome. And if you would like to speak, about what will be, I hope, a lack of hostility towards the Las Vegas Raiders this year.
Oh, wow.
Because they have an openly gay guy
during Pride Month.
Good for him. You know, I mean, I can't think of anything. That should affect pro football and sports less than a guy saying that he's gay. Because you know what? You have all these idiot players, and there are a bunch of them. Who's that guy on the Buffalo Bills? Cole, what the fuck is his name? The receiver who says, I'm not getting vaccinated. I'll retire before I will get vaccinated. You can't tell me. Okay, so that guy's not the problem. This guy on the Raiders is going to be, and he's not. He's not. And from what I could tell, it looks like with unanimity, the team said, right on, let's go play, let's go win. It shouldn't be a problem.
Well, do I get to go through my litany now?
Go ahead.
From the franchise that gave you the first black coach in the National Football League, from the franchise that gave you the first Hispanic head coach in the National Football League, from the franchise that gave you the first female president in the history of the league, comes the first active gay player. Yes, you can talk shit about and I wish we'd win a few more games.
Well,
sure.
I don't think you're saying, no, he's the first openly.
That's correct.
Active. So we know that there have probably been dozens, hundreds. So that's the reason that this is a story.
And it's a huge deal. Yeah. This is the franchise that people for many, and of course they did some terrible things, and some people may have been made into be quadriplegics, but yes, this is the franchise that has done all of those things. And if they would win a couple of games, it'd be kind of nice too. But look, that's groundbreaking. That is fantastic. And it happens during Pride Month that he comes out, and God bless him. I think it's fantastic. I've always, this is a great day for the National Football League. And I hope 20 other guys decide today that they want to say the same thing, and they get the same reaction with, yeah, it's fine. I hope that happens. I hope that's the day that we've reached in 2021 in the United States. I really do.
Plus, of course, the NFL has this history of a lot of players transitioning, from offense to defense.
That's what you're talking about.
In other words, like Tim Tebow is transitioning from quarterback to wide receiver. But no, nobody talks about that, do they? Okay, that's the best I got on that one.
There's your reminder from Steve Handler. If you can see that graphic on the screen for those of you that are watching, former Cowboy Cole Beasley, along with Sam Darnold, the Panthers quarterback, are both saying they will not get the vaccine. So way to upgrade at quarterback for the Panthers. Nice job on that one. I don't understand it.
I thought that players certainly at that level had to take an intelligence test. Don't they? Isn't that part of the draft? Isn't there like a 30 question test that they all take?
Yeah, when they go to the combine, they do that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's preposterous. If you would have, again, I just think if you told somebody in a blind situation where they don't know the details, and you said to them, this vaccine was rolled out, and it was rolled out in 9 months, and it was difficult to get for 4 or 5 months, and then it was not. It was readily available for anybody who wanted it for free.
Well, just think of where we were. And again, I don't want to use Trump as any kind of positive example for anything, but the one thing that he accidentally said that was right, but not for the reasons that he was saying, was when there was no vaccine, he was promising, in effect, that there would be a vaccine by Election Day. And of course, there was no way he could actually promise that, because a lot of people don't know this. He tends to say things that have no basis in actual fact. And this one happened to work out. And that was good. And everybody was just hoping and hoping and hoping. And so what was it? A couple of days after Election Day, the official announcement was made. And leading up to that, I think you may have heard, some people are not going to be ready to get it. They're not going to trust it. All those kind of things. But I don't think we thought it would be at the 25, 30% level that it is at, which is just enough to prevent the country from getting to whatever passes for herd immunity, which is that the virus has nowhere left to really go. So it kind of recedes, and even if it's still around, it isn't as dangerous in terms of spreadability as it was. It's like the flu every year, although the flu kills tens of thousands of people every year. How come they're not talking about that? Well, they do talk about that. And it is a big deal. And you're supposed to get a goddamn flu shot too. You're supposed to get one.
But it didn't kill a lot of people last year because we didn't go anywhere.
Right.
Okay, that's why it didn't kill anybody last year. It killed like 5 people because nobody went anywhere. And when they went places, they wore fucking masks. At least if they had a brain. I mean, on one sense, all of this does make me very upset, but it just makes me incredibly sad. Do you know how many people are out there and they have compromised immune systems, and they would give anything if they would be able to get this vaccine? If they could do it, they would love to get this vaccine, but they just can't because they have some sort of medical problem that they were born with, some sort of genetic defect, whatever, that makes it so that they can't get it. And this vaccine, because of messenger RNA, mRNA technology, going forward, this is going to change everything. Do you know how many lives this is going to save going forward? And all we did was fuck around. Well, I didn't, but there's a number of people that just fucked around with it and just like no, I really appreciate the gift horse, but let me just check those molars out for a little bit. It's the dumbest shit you can ever imagine.
Well, think about the rest of the world.
Oh my God.
Remember, and we're so taken up with, what do we think of ourselves that we forget, well, what does the rest of the world think of us? And right now, and I think Biden is trying to get past this by saying we're going to donate hundreds of millions, billions of doses around the world because, as you know, and by the way, I'm the first one to say this, if everybody isn't safe, no one's safe. I thought of that.
Wow.
That was my original thought.
See if you can trademark that. We got to get some T-shirts out.
Right. And it's only in quote unquote developed countries, and I'm not sure we're even a developed country anymore, I wonder, where you would have people who would be so idiotic that they wouldn't take a vaccine. I mean, when we're able to vaccinate the whole world against other diseases in the past, whether it was smallpox and measles and polio and things of that sort, I'm sure there were some people. There was one guy in Africa in one village who said, I'm not taking it. But other than that, people have been pretty receptive. And even the least educated people in the world sort of know that this is a good thing. And the fact that we are here in what we think is a well-developed, highly educated country, and we have all these people saying no, it just pisses me off. It just pisses me off unendingly.
It's the saddest thing. And I think it's also, but doesn't it also fit the form that it's these deep Republican states, the very red states, the ones that are going to have their healthcare system be overtaxed so much by these people that were too ignorant to go out and get the thing. And they're going to have to be bailed out by the federal government because they couldn't handle the cost of it. Doesn't that just fit? That's what's been going on forever. These are always the guys that are the places that get bailed out by the federal government, right? These deep red states.
I think what it is now that we've crossed this threshold of essentially everybody who wants a vaccine in America has now been able to get one. And if they haven't gotten their second shot yet, they're probably about to get it. So now you have the hardest of the hardcore. So what do you do with that? The answer is you can't do anything with it.
No.
And so as the rest of us circulate around, for the most part, without having to think too hard about the coronavirus as we go out to restaurants now or go shopping or go to a concert. I mean, we bought our first concert tickets about 4 days ago. First time we bought some to see Trevor Noah in September. He's going to be in Greensboro. Trevor Noah. I'm really excited about it. I mean, it's really good. And Who would have thought? You would have never.
And
What I mean is, who would have thought that Trevor Noah would bother to come to Greensboro?
That's also a thing. I got to go to I got to go to another funeral, which was fantastic, and we did, it wasn't a super spreader event, so you can actually.
But your relative did not die of coronavirus.
No, she did not at all. It was something called cancer. So trust me, when she was able to get the vaccination, she got it immediately. But we go to. But you're actually able to go and mourn people in person. You actually get that closure in your life on your loved ones, where if your loved one died a year ago, you weren't able to gather and to lay them to rest as you would have. So I'm even grateful for that, for being able to get together with my family and to mourn somebody that we're all going to miss a lot. All of that stuff is going back to normal.
So we're about at least 600,000 people, 600,000 families. Do the math. Start extending how many people that is directly affected in this country. If you don't know someone who died from coronavirus, you certainly know someone who knows someone. It's almost impossible not to get to that level. So what must surviving families of people who died, who didn't live long enough to get vaccinated, what must they think of people who now have the opportunity to make sure that they never get sick, never have to worry? I feel so bad for these families. I do. And you don't want to turn everything into a political fight. You don't want to turn everything into an insult war over dumb versus smart. But I don't know how you approach this otherwise. You are insulting everybody who lost a loved one, certainly up until a couple months ago. You really are. You're just saying, I'm smarter than everyone else on earth. I don't need this, and well, that's tough shit for you people. I mean, I don't know. Isn't that the attitude?
Well, I mean,
they're not expressing it. They may not realize they're putting that.
No,
out.
that's. Well, and before that, when people would just go out and go willy-nilly, they were just basically saying "fuck you" to the healthcare workers too. When they would go out to these parties and these pool parties, and that's what they were absolutely saying that, and they were like, "I don't give a shit. Let them worry about it." We care so much about the essential workers. We care so much about our frontline health workers. Bullshit. You do. You're out there at the pool party. You're cracking a Corona, and you're super spreading all over the place, and you're basically telling those people, fuck you. But see, this is why it's good that you and I are not president, because at this point, there's no way to get through these people. And our ad campaign will be, if you haven't gotten the coronavirus vaccine yet, fuck you. That would be right. That would be the ad campaign.
That's why when I posted the written version of my little rant before, I actually did something that I had to do. I didn't want to do it, but I had to do it. I pulled out the clip of Pat McCrory saying, "Don't put on your stupid hat." And he said that at a press conference when there was a hurricane barreling towards North Carolina, right? And so your governor always has a press conference to tell people to get the hell out of the way and evacuate the coast. And he said, "Don't put on your stupid hat." That kind of became a catchphrase around here. And you hear it everywhere. You hear a lot of people, not just in North Carolina, but I hear national panel discussions. The phrase "stupid hat," I don't know. It's like dunce cap. I guess it's the modern version of the dunce cap. But I get it. And so you are putting on a stupid hat, and you're strapping that baby on if you're not getting vaccinated now. And when you think about, and this is going to be one of these moments. It's not that exciting, but we all remember where we got vaccinated. We all remember the moment that we walked out after the first shot or the second shot, if you had to get two. And, it was just kind of a sigh of relief moment over something that, after it's done, it's just done. And some people, their arm hurt or they felt sick for a couple days, which of course meant that the vaccine was working. But it was a modern medical miracle. And if you don't choose to participate in it, that's on you. And that's on your loved one who you may infect. You may be a carrier and not show any symptoms. It's as if people can't remember the rules of the road here. The rules of the road have always been, you might be a carrier of this, So that's why you need to wear a mask. Going back, 6, 8, 10 months ago, that's why you need to wear a mask and socially just. Well, those rules actually still should apply 100% for people who are not vaccinated. Okay, because if not, then you want to talk about a level of arrogance and stupidity that you can't measure. So if you're a non-vaccinated, obnoxious, arrogant person who thinks they're invulnerable, you actually believe you can still circulate among lots of people.
Yeah.
Most of us are vaccinated, and you're going to get lucky and not catch it from someone who is not vaccinated like you, who may be as big a liar and fraud as you are, and think that they can circulate in polite society because, well, since everybody else got vaccinated, I'm not going to catch. If you are that dumb, if you are that stupid, as George Costanza said, some people are too stupid to live.
Too stupid.
And you know what? You might not.
In this case, you may be. I mean, I mean, we batted it back and forth. I don't know how to get through to these people. And I got to tell you, I in my personal life, I know in my family, including some people that voted for Trump, they got the vaccine. I don't know of anybody in my family that refused to get it. And when I got it back in February, I was in line with a bunch of law enforcement officers and I think some EMTs, some paramedics and stuff like that. And it was very much hitting home to me like, oh, this is great. This really, I feel very lucky. I'm glad I'm getting this. It's as you said, it's a relief. You walk out of there and you're like, holy shit, that is, I dodged a bullet here.
Right. Remember the pool of people, the refusenick pool of people. That's largely Republican red, Trumpy kind of voters. But as always, that doesn't mean that all Republican red, Trumpy voters didn't get vaccinated. Okay. So you're going to see many who did, but you're going to see a lot fewer of the people who didn't get vaccinated be Democratic, liberal Biden voters. That's how you have to think of it. So, but you're lucky. You're lucky if you've got a bunch of Trumpies in your family and none of them are vaccine refuseniks. You're lucky. Okay.
Yeah, they took it.
They took it. Of course, then you have to ask, but do they think that Trump is about to be reinstated as president? It's a two-part question.
I don't want to drill down. I'm just happy they took the shot. I don't want to go down that far. I'm just happy they got the thing in their arm. I don't know if I told you this story. I've got a guy I work with, and the rule at work up until very recently was you had to wear the mask very much everywhere except your personal workstation. If you're walking through the halls, if you're going to the bathroom, if you're in the kitchen at work, you have to wear the mask. Now, recently they've dropped that and you don't have to wear it at all if you've been fully vaccinated and nobody's wearing the mask. This guy was for no reason at all being vaccine resistant other than his own hard head. And when they said, oh, you can stop wearing the mask, he goes, well, that would be the motivation for me to get the thing. This is somebody that has a daughter that's under the age of 10 years old. That was not the motivation to want to see your daughter graduate from high school, get married, have children, maybe have a grandkid on your knee one day. That didn't do it, but not having to wear the stupid mask, that's what put the guy over the top as far as maybe thinking about getting vaccinated. I don't know if he ever actually did or not. I can only think of him and one other person who fits the absolute demographic, because apparently, are they saying now, from what I saw, it's the young people that are being completely resistant to it or fairly resistant? That's the real demographic they're having a problem with?
It's not a question of their being that resistant.
Yeah.
First of all, you have a problem, I think, with teenagers, because I think this has come up, where you have, what if daddy is a Trumper and daddy isn't vaccinated and daddy refuses to allow you, his teenage daughter or son to get vaccinated, so now you're in a fight with your parents. And do children have the right to get vaccinated without their parents' permission? Hey, there's a new place to start a fight in a
good times
culture war.
Can't wait.
All kinds of that.
Is that more child abuse? Is that another example of child abuse? Is that what that is?
Right. But I think it's a combination. And by the way, the Biden administration is doing the old radio ratings game. And the radio ratings game, Britt, you know this,
yeah,
is when your station ratings are not that great, what you do is you find the demographic that you did well in, and you go, well, but we were number one with 25 to 54-year-old left-handed
Cat
women
owners
who own cats. All right.
Yeah,
And then you take out an ad and you say we're number one. So the Biden administration is now saying that, yes, we can't get 70% of the whole country vaccinated by July 1st, but we are going to be at 70% beyond that for people 30 years old and older. Okay. Now, they're not bragging about that, but there's a point to be made there because, well, who got vaccinated first? Old people. And then it went down in age. So it would only make sense that if you're in the, mid 60s, low 60s total, that you'd be well over 70 with older people, because the young people are the last ones to get vaccinated here. But because the prevailing, and I think it was not a good thing, but I guess it mixed in with the whole discussion of should kids be back in school no matter what? How shall we do it? Does every kid have to be 5 feet away from the other kid? Do we have to put a plastic shield? All that shit with schools. Thank God I don't have kids in school anymore. I didn't have to go through that. I heard about it though. It was on all the TV shows.
It made all the papers.
Made all the papers. But, and again, it always started at the top with Trump, was that kids don't get it. And if they do get it, they get a mild case. And
Right.
meantime, I think the numbers are, several hundred people under the age of 18 have died.
Yeah.
Over time. I mean, it's just, if you have 600,000 people in all age groups are going to get it, a lot fewer. But I think that translates through now to saying, well, I made it all the way through. I'm 24. Life's good. I didn't get it. My friends haven't gotten it. Fuck, I don't need to get the vaccine. See you later. And so I think that you do have, it isn't necessarily the same kind of resistance that you get from older Trumpy kind of voters. I just think it's, the problem with, people of that age are still developmentally idiotic in a way,
Wow.
and they don't want to process the information. Some of them, not all of them, because if you have 30 or 40% of that group already vaccinated, you could argue, that's pretty good at this point. And because, again, they don't get it in as great a numbers or as seriously, we will muddle through. But it's a bad way to run a railroad. It just is, because everybody should be getting it. And
there was a moment, there was a moment. I remember last summer, there was a moment I was extremely anxious, and it made all the papers here. I've talked about this. I work at the 911 center here in town, and there was a story that came out. We had several people that tested positive. You remember the story that came out, and they were very concerned about having enough people to, answer the 911 phones and tell the cops where to go, and tell the paramedics where to go, and tell the fire department where to go. And there was a period of time where I wasn't directly affected by this, and I don't think I was directly, but I was tested like 3 times within a week. I just started dating my girlfriend. I would rather not make a single mother sick and perhaps her child. I didn't think that would be a good thing to do.
But if you were having a trashy affair with a married woman, you wouldn't have cared. Is that
Didn't
right?
care. I would have coughed all
Right.
over her. I would have. That's all we got. That's enough for today.
Yeah, that's enough. So here's the schedule for the rest of the week. Nothing until Friday. We will do a special Friday edition.
It's our Tuesday, Friday. It's like you're back in college, sort of, kind of, except it's Tuesday, Thursday. Do you like those Tuesday, Thursday classes when you were in college? Do you enjoy that?
I was willing several times to sacrifice the 4 or 5 days a week for an hour to have the 2 nights a week.
I did that.
The longer classes. Yeah, I was willing to do that a couple times.
We did. I did one or 2 night classes, and those were brutal. Those were like from 6 to 9 or something like that. But they only met once a week. But that was like, and I seem to recall one time forgetting. I'm just like at the dorm watching cartoons or farting around with the guys, and went, "Oh shit, I should be in class." What the fuck? As you can tell, I was a very studious man. Took all very seriously. See you guys on Friday.